Juliana and Tyler, thanks for being here this morning. I'm Jenn deLeon. I'm the advising coordinator on campus. Mattias is here with us. He's our e-learning coordinator. So he's your kind of go-to guy if you have questions about this after today. I'll just ask now so I don't forget later, Mattias, if you'll put that contact information in the chat again for them. All right, so I'm going to guess at this point you've figured out where to access Canvas, at least if you know a little bit about getting into it. If not, it is here on our homepage. Right under the search bar, there's a link to Canvas. You'll use your Big Bend email and password that you've created to get logged into that and access that. There is an app. Oh, I forgot I'm in student view on this one. There is an app for Canvas as well. I will tell you, I've heard from some faculty that submitting assignments through the app has not worked out well all of the time. So I would say use that with caution. I'm gonna hop out of the student view just so you can see when we come in. When you get logged into Canvas, it's actually going to start you here in your dashboard. And your dashboard is a global kind of landing place for you. So any of the classes that you have in Canvas, you might see information for them here on your dashboard. You'll notice right here at the top of the page, I've got some announcements that are coming up. And these might be specific to classes, but they're also sent campus-wide. So this first one you can see here is from our president. Once I read that, I can close it. Hey, there's a message here from our library about checking out tech tools and textbooks, etc. So once you've read those, you can close them. This was a great little announcement for me to know that we can actually go back and view those announcements once you've closed them. So if you go to the global announcements tool from the menu, you can go back and review those if you need to. You're also going to see any of your courses listed here in your dashboard. We're pretty far into week one now, so you should see everything there available for your classes. One thing to know as you start to move through, additional quarters at Big Bend, instructors have to publish their class for you to see it. So if you try to go into a class early and you're not seeing it there, or you're not seeing any information in it, it might just be that the instructor hasn't published the class yet. So no need to panic. But like I said, day 5 into fall quarter, you should have access to all of your classes that are using Canvas there. All the way on the left-hand side, there's this kind of dark gray toolbar. This is your global toolbar. So again, this is going to be for any classes that you're using Canvas to access. The very top button is going to be your account button. So we're going to start there today. There's 2 main spaces I want you to know about in the settings today, or in the account tab. The first one is notifications and the other one is settings. So we're actually going to start in the settings. All the way on the right hand side of this page, you'll see that there's ways to contact, and we're going to talk about notifications in just a second. But one of my favorite things about Canvas is that it allows you to choose how you're notified about different things happening in your classes and how often you're notified about those, and then where you want those notifications to go. So by default, you probably have whatever email address was on file with Campus. You can add an additional email address there if you would like as well. So maybe your Big Bend email address, or there's a different email address you use most often. You just click the add email address and it's going to give you the option to add that there. Okay. If you've got multiple email addresses listed, you'll notice mine has a little gray star next to it. You can choose which one you want to be set as your default. So if you just hover over the little star, click on it, the one that's gray will be your default. You can also add another contact method if you want to receive text message notifications. So you can come in and add a cell phone number, add your carrier, and then it's going to send you a code that you need to come in and put in order to register your cell phone. And then you can get text message notifications as well. Okay, so once you've updated those ways to contact, we're going to come back over to the white toolbar here, and that's going to go to our notifications tab. So this is where we actually get to set those notifications that I talked about. You'll notice here at the top of the page under notification preferences, there's multiple times that you can be notified. So the check mark is going to notify you right away. The little clock is going to send you a daily summary. The little calendar will send you a weekly summary. The X means don't send me anything at all. If you come down to the actual activities, if you hover over the activity, it's going to give you a little bit of more information about what that means. So due date, if you hover over that, it says assignment due date changed. I can get notifications anytime an instructor changes the due date on an assignment in my class, okay? By default, Canvas has selected all of these for you. You can go in and change them at any time that you want. I only have one contact method listed. If you have multiple contact methods listed, you're gonna see a column for each of those contact methods. So you can go in and choose, maybe I wanna know about, changes to due dates right away via text, and you could choose that in the text column. And maybe I only wanna know about, announcements every day to my email. And so you can select different notification options for different preferences, right? Your email or your cell phone for different items. So it's totally up to you how you want to have these set. All you have to do to change it is simply click on the icon for what you want for that item. Okay. You can update these at any time. So if you go through after today and you take a look at these notification preferences and you have things set one way, and a couple weeks from now you find, oh, I wish I really knew this more often, or I wasn't getting so many notifications about this, you can come in and change these notifications at any time. Okay. These, again, are global tools, so it's going to be notifications for all of your classes. You can't set preferences for one class one way and then for another class a different way. So this will set your notification preferences for all of those classes you have in Canvas. Okay, our next tab in our global dashboard toolbar over here on the left is the dashboard link. That's where we started. You can change the way the dashboard looks. Right now, mine are set to these card files, so it's showing the classes I have, but you can go to a list view if you want. You can also go to recent activity if you want, whatever you feel like is the best view for you when you come in. Under that is a link to all of your courses. So again, that's just another way for you to access them. I'm going to skip down to the calendar. You may or may not have a groups button on yours. If your instructors are not using groups, you won't have that button on. The calendar is another one of the tools I really love in Canvas because you can see what's going on for all of your classes kind of in one place. And so here on the right-hand side, you're going to see the different calendars that you have. Your name is going to be listed with one color next to it, and then any of your classes are going to be listed. Sorry, my list is big because I've been teaching for a while, so I have a lot of classes that show up in here. But any of them that are active are going to have a different colored box next to them, okay? And when you come in, I'm going to go to October. Let's not be showing my PE class. Let me see if I can find my PE class really quickly for you. Fall. There we go. There we go. All right, so you can see my PE class I'm teaching has this sort of dark gray box next to it. So when I take a look at the calendar, all of these dark gray boxes are showing me assignments that are due for that PE class. So it's great that they're color coded because you can kind of see how everything's going to fall together for your different classes. You can add items to the calendar yourself as well. They're only going to show up with your little colored box around it. No one else can see those items. Maybe you have a study session via Zoom that you're doing with some classmates. And so you want to put that on your calendar so you remember. Okay, my name had that little blue box next to it, so it shows up with a blue box around it. No one else can see those items that you add yourself. So your instructors won't see it, your other classmates won't see it. You can move them, maybe you guys change your study session, or maybe you just cancel it entirely. You can go in and delete events. So the calendar is a really nice way just to be able to see what's going on in all of your classes. It's a great way to kind of take a look at the beginning of the quarter and see when you might have some really busy times coming up if you've got a lot of assignments falling into one sort of, week or day of the week to help you be prepared ahead of time for that. Okay, if we go back to our global navigation toolbar, the next link takes us to our inbox. And so this is going to touch on that question you had about how to send messages. Okay. All the way here at the top in this sort of gray toolbar is where we can go to send messages. So we're going to click on the little box with a pencil in it to compose a new message. You're only going to be able to message people who you are connected to via your classes. So you can't just send a message to anyone, but you're going to come in and you're going to select a course first. You can hear my dog snoring. If you know the name, you can start typing their name in, or you can come all the way to the right here with the little address book and click on that. And then you can start to search either by teachers or students, and you can find their name there. Please do put in a subject, right? Just like any other email that you're using. It's going to help whoever you're messaging know what the message is about. You can type in a message, you can add files if you need to, right? You have the ability to add attachments. You can also record an audio or video comment if you wanted to do that. And then you're gonna send the message. Depending on the email platform that you're currently using, this might look a little different than how you have yours set up. On the left-hand side of the page, it's gonna group your messages together by person or people that you're messaging, okay? So it's going to put the most recent at the top, but it's also going to group them by people. So you can see this gray box that has a number in it, shows me the total number of messages between me and that person, okay? And if I click on that person, then it's actually going to open the email over here on the side of the page. Okay? Let's see if I had anything unread. All right, so if you see this blue dot show up, those are unread items. And you're gonna see this blue dot in multiple places throughout Canvas. That's gonna show you that you haven't read items. And one of the great things about this inbox is that you can have it set up to forward to another email address, right? So I get all of these messages at my Big Bend email address as well, and I can respond directly to them from my email address, from my Big Bend email without having to come into Canvas. The one caveat kind of to that is you're only going to see the most recent message if you're in a different email provider, if you're not in this actual inbox in Canvas. All right, back to our global navigation toolbar. The very last thing I want to talk about is the help button. Okay, this is a great place to come for a couple of reasons. If you start to get through the quarter and you're like, I just really don't remember what they said about how to do this, or I'm not sure how to do this, you can come in and use the Canvas guides. Those are a really good tool for you. You can also report a problem. You've added stuff to this. So report a problem is near the top here. So if you have anything happening in Canvas where the system itself is not operating correctly, okay, this isn't my instructor didn't grade my assignment yet, or I don't remember how to send an email. This is if, Canvas isn't allowing you to submit assignments, or something is not working with the system itself the way it should be. You can report a problem. That's going to go to Mattias and our e-learning team on campus first. They're awesome about getting things fixed if anything's misbehaving. If they're not able to fix it, then they're going to send it off to the Canvas folks themselves, who will get things fixed for you. Canvas has been really responsive, and our e-learning team is great. So again, if you've got a problem with Canvas and how it's operating, that's where you're going to want to go.
True technical problems are fairly rare, but yeah, the Canvas team is very good at handling them.
All right, so I'm going to go back up to my dashboard, and we are going to hop into a class so that we can take a look at that. So again, all the way on the left-hand side was this dark gray toolbar. That's your global navigation tools. So again, those are for all of the classes you have. Once you get into a class, you're going to see this kind of white toolbar, and that's going to be specific to the class that you're in or the location you're in Canvas. Canvas is always going to look pretty similar, no matter where you go or what class you're in. It's going to be the same setup. So the global navigation toolbar will always be all the way on the left. Then you're going to have your white toolbar that's specific to the location you're in. You're going to see content in the middle of the page. And then over on the right-hand side, it might change depending on where you're at. You might see a to-do list of items that are coming up for your class. You might see things that were recently graded. That's going to change for you depending on where you're at. Okay. I'm going to hop into the student view real quickly. All right, so your homepage in Canvas for a specific course might look different. Instructors have a couple of options of how they can set this up. It might go directly to announcements, it might go directly to a modules page, or there might be information that they've got here on the page for you. So this landing page might look a little bit different depending on how your instructor has it set up. In the white navigation toolbar, I do want to mention, if you are trying to look at your Canvas class from a phone, not through the app, this white toolbar does not show up there for you. You have to click on the course name at the top in order for that toolbar to show up. The tabs that you might see in this course-specific toolbar are going to be dependent on what the instructor has made visible to you. Okay. The great thing about it is they can choose which tabs they want you to have access to, but they can't change the names of those tabs. So if you see a tab that says assignments, it's always going to be assignments, right? It's never going to say coursework or classwork or homework. You'll always know that if there's a tab that says assignments, it's assignments. Okay? I'm going to cover the ones that you're probably going to see the most. Announcements are just what they sound like. They're a way for instructors to make an announcement to you about things that are happening in class. This might be related to things that are happening, like there's a workshop available for financial aid, or there is a technology workshop that Mattias is going to host, or it might be something course specific, like they noticed last week everyone was having trouble with this topic, and so they wanted to do some follow-up. Announcements are sort of just one-off things. When you come in, again, anything with that little blue dot is going to be an item that you haven't read yet. You can click on the announcement to see more about that, okay? If the instructor has not closed the announcement for comments, I want you to be really careful about sending messages to instructors here. I learned this the hard way. We don't get notifications about comments you leave in the announcements. And so if you are sending comments here, they may not be seeing them. So if you have a question about something that you see in the announcements, I would suggest emailing your instructor rather than leaving a comment here in case they don't come back into it. Okay, the syllabus tab is going to be a place for you to find your syllabus for the course. The syllabus is hugely important for you for all of your classes. I suggest you look through the whole syllabus for any classes that you're taking. This is sort of your guidelines of how the class is going to operate, what the expectations are, what materials are needed, and how you're going to be graded. Again, this course syllabus page might look different depending on how the instructor has set it up. They might create the syllabus directly here in the page for you to access, or they might have a link. So I did a little bit of both here so you guys can see. They might have a link to a separate document that you could download, save, print, whatever you need to do. The other really great thing about this is you can see a course summary at the end of the bottom of the syllabus page. So this is going to take all of those assignments and quizzes and tests and things that they have put into Canvas for you and show you when those are due. This again is course specific, so it's not like looking at the calendar for all of your courses. It's only going to show this course that you're in and those things that are coming up for you. If your instructor is weighting assignments or groups differently, right? Maybe you can see an example here. Assignments are worth 50% of your grade, discussions are 35, and the final project was 15. You'll be able to see that here on the syllabus page too if they've set that up for you. We're going to go to the modules tab next. Modules are a way for instructors to group instruction together. So if you think about sitting in a face-to-face class, you're going to have a lot of different things that you do. They're going to lecture, there might be videos that they show, there's going to be reading assignments, they're going to give you homework, you're going to have quizzes, tests, you're going to have class discussions. Online, you still get to do all of those things, it just looks a little bit differently. So modules are the way they're going to group all of those things together for you. Usually those modules are going to be set up one of two ways typically. Most often you're going to see them grouped by date. So they might have a week 1, week 2, week 3, etc. Or they might group them by topic. So you might see, one topic you're covering right now that they have grouped together, etc. That doesn't mean they might not group them in other ways, but those are going to be the two you're going to see the most often. Okay, you're going to know what type of content is in there by looking at this tiny little icon right next to the item. Okay. If you see this little paper with some writing on it, that is a page the instructor created in Canvas. It's just like a Word document. They can put text, they can put pictures, there might be links, there might be videos. This is just something that they've created here in Canvas for you to read. It's not downloadable. You can't print it. Well, you could print it right, if you copied and pasted somewhere, but it's not a separate document. It's built here in Canvas. The little paper clip is an attachment. So that's a document they created outside of Canvas and uploaded for you to have access to here. Just like I talked about with the syllabus, if they have this linked for you, then you can print it, you can save it, you can download it, you've got access to it. Generally, when you click on that link, it's going to open here for you in the center of the page. There are some browsers that are less friendly with Canvas than others, Internet Explorer being one of them. If you click on a link and it's not opening here for you in the center of the page, just know that you can click the little downloadable item here at the top and it will download it for you. So if you're not seeing it show up in the center of the page here, just click the link here at the top, it'll download for you.
A word about browsers. Chrome is generally the most reliable option.
The next icon is a little chain link. That is an external URL. So again, that might be a web page your instructor wants you to view, read, etc. And they've linked it here for you directly, so you don't have to go find it. Okay, same thing. That link should open in this page for you. But if there are browser issues that are stopping it from opening here, if you come to this little gray toolbar and you click on it, it will open it in another tab for you. You can see how that just opened up for me. So if for whatever reason your browser isn't working properly and it's not opening the item for you in the page, you can still always access that. Okay, the little paper with a pencil on it is an assignment. And these could be done in multiple ways. But when you go into the assignment, you're going to be able to see when it's due, how many points it's worth, how you're going to submit that assignment, and when it's available until, okay? The due date and the available date might look different. What I want you to know about that, the due date is when that assignment is due. If there is an available date, that assignment won't even be visible to you after that date, okay? So for example, in my class, assignments are due on Sunday by 11:59. But they're available for an additional week after that. So students could still see the assignment, they could still see the work, they could still do it, they can submit it for half points in my class. But after that, they can't even access it. So just know there is a difference between the due date and the available date. Okay? You'll also see directions for the assignment. And if there's a rubric attached, you can see that listed here as well. I've already submitted this as a sample, but we're going to resubmit because it looks exactly the same. If it's your first time submitting the assignment, this blue button will just say submit assignment. Okay, when you click on that, you're going to see the options that you have for submitting that assignment. Now, I chose file upload for this. You might have a text entry box. You might have, you can see Office 365. Mattias, is a Google Doc still an option for them or no?
I don't think it is at the moment, but it could be in theory.
So you'll choose the tab that corresponds to the way that you want to submit the assignment. This is just like attaching anything to an email, right? You're going to choose the file. Oh, hey, there's our last one. Let's do that. Okay, you can see my file listed here. I can leave comments if I want, and then I'm going to submit the assignment. And once I submit the assignment, I want to check up here and make sure I see that this has been submitted, okay? You can see the document I submitted. You can check submission details. If your instructor leaves comments on this, you'll be able to see them here in the submission details. Okay, the next little icon is this rocket ship. That's going to be a quiz, test, survey for you. Same kind of thing when you access that. It's going to give you information about it. It's going to tell you when it's due, how many points it's worth, how many questions there are, when it's available until, if you have a time limit, and how many attempts you're allowed. So oftentimes instructors will only give you one attempt and they might set like an hour time limit. So make sure you're checking that so you know what to expect before you start the quiz. You'll see any instructions for the quiz, and then again, I've already submitted this in another sample, but if this was the first time, it would say take the quiz. We're going to click on that blue button, and it's going to take you to the questions. On the top right-hand side of the page, you're going to see this list of questions. It told us there were 12 questions, so I can see all 12 of those listed, and they currently have a little gray question mark next to them. As I go throughout this quiz and I start answering questions, I'm just going to do a few. If I come back up to the top of this page, now you'll see there's a check mark for those questions that I answered. And if I look, I can see, oh shoot, I missed question 2. I need to go back to question 2. So if I just click on it, it'll take me right to question 2. Okay. Once you've answered all of the questions, you're going to submit the quiz. Now, I've skipped a bunch of questions, and you can see there's a pop-up box that comes up and says, you have 8 unanswered questions. See that right sidebar for details. Do you want to submit anyways? So you cannot accidentally submit a quiz or a test without having answered all of the questions unless you do that intentionally. If you didn't realize you skipped a question, you can just cancel that, come all the way back up to the top of the page to that toolbar, find the ones that still have the question marks for you, and then submit the quiz. Once you've submitted the quiz, I'm going to submit it anyways. It will be automatically graded. So you can see for the attempt details how much time it took you, your current score, and then the score you got. This one allows me to do it unlimited times. Okay? One thing I want you to know about quizzes, if they're true-false questions, if they're multiple choice, if they're fill-in-the-blank kind of things, those will automatically be graded. If you have short answer questions or essay questions that are included on that, instructors have to grade those separately for you. So you might see a grade here that shows up that shocks you, right? I've had a lot of students go, oh my gosh, I thought I did really well on that, and it says I only got 5 out of 50. Well, that's because those questions, those essay questions or short answer questions haven't been graded by the instructor yet. When we get to the grade book, I'm going to show you how to tell the difference between whether or not it's been actually fully graded yet or not. Okay. If you do have multiple attempts, you'll just be able to click the Take the Quiz Again button there. Another note about that, if you have a quiz or a test with a time limit, you always want to make sure you well, either way, you want to make sure you submit the quiz. If you don't submit it, it won't get turned into the instructors and they can't access it. If there is a time limit set, if you run out of time, it will automatically submit your quiz at the end of the time limit. If you only have 1 attempt at the quiz, you cannot go into the quiz, start it, save it, and come back later. That will be counted as your 1 attempt. Okay, last little icon I want to talk through is the little speech bubbles. These are discussion topics. So when you come into a discussion, this will be similar to a class discussion, but it's obviously going to look a little bit different. In class, right, oftentimes if you've been part of discussions in a classroom, you might have a couple of people who are usually saying things either because they're really comfortable talking in front of people or they know a lot about the topic. And then you have some people who never want to talk in front of their classmates, right? And so oftentimes the discussions might be a smaller group of people who are discussing. In an online discussion, there's a little bit more forced interaction. So generally your instructors are going to tell you something like, you know, here's the instructions, here's the question. I want you to respond with your own thoughts about this. And then they're going to ask you to respond to a certain number of classmates. Sometimes it's going to be 2 classmates or 3 classmates or 5 classmates. Okay. So you want to make sure you're reading their instructions about those discussions carefully. You'll again be able to see how many points are possible, when it's due. And then here at the top of the page, you're going to see these tiny little boxes again. Again, if you have a blue box, actually I think it's gray now, it's showing you unread items. It's got a number in it for you. And so if I scroll down here, I can see I have these couple of messages we sent, okay? My discussion topic is here. And so in order for me to reply to that, I'm going to click on the reply box that is directly underneath that. And when I do that, we have access to tools just like you might have in a Microsoft Word document. Okay, we are able to type here. We can, you know, bold things. We can make them italicized. We can change the font color and size and all those kind of things. You can include links. You can add photos. So this is one of the things if you're asked to upload a photo that if it's not an item that you're finding online, maybe it's a photo you have on your computer, you're going to come to the Canvas tab and you can upload a file. Now you can choose which folder you save this in. That matters less than where you upload it, but you're going to want to know where to find it again later, right? So you're going to come in and just like attaching again to any other, I don't think I have pictures on here even. Attaching to any other email or anything, you're going to find a file and you're going to upload it in that same way. Okay. I'm on a checkout laptop and I realized I didn't have pictures on here, so I don't have anything to upload. But once you do that, it's going to show up in your text box for you. Okay, when I post my reply, you're going to see that that just showed up down here for me, okay? Now, like I said, sometimes instructors will ask you to post your own thoughts and then they want you to reply to other people as well. When you're responding to another student, you're going to use the reply box directly beneath their comment, okay? And then you can type in your comments back to them as well. And now you can see that there, okay? It gets a little confusing as you're scrolling through, but you can see there's one single line here. That's showing me this reply is in response to this person. There's a space in between these, right? So I can see this is kind of a separate conversation that's happening and people that have replied to them. This little dot again is going to be blue for any of those unread items. So as people start to post more and more and more in their discussion, you'll be able to see those unread items that you haven't seen when that blue dot is there. Canvas is going to assume you are reading those as you scroll through. So after about 2 seconds or 3 seconds, I think, it turns it from blue to white. So as you're scrolling through the page, it will automatically mark them as read items for you. Okay, I'm going to come to the grades tab so you can take a look at the grade book. You'll be able to see any items that they have listed for you for assignments, tests, quizzes, discussions, etc. Again, you'll be able to see the due date. The status is going to tell you kind of where you're at with that, what your score is out of how many points possible. Okay, so you can see in my sample class, I have a lot of assignments missing. Here we go. All right, so this discussion is the one that you saw me post on. You can see those little speech bubbles are listed there in my score, okay? This quiz that we did has the rocket ship listed in my score. So that shows me that I actually submitted that item, but the instructor has not graded their pieces yet, okay? When the instructor actually grades it, you will see a score listed there. So that's one way for you to go in and make sure, like I said, sometimes you'll submit a quiz and they still have to grade the essay questions or short answer questions, and you're like, but I thought I did really well. You can see here if it has that rocket ship, you've submitted the quiz, but they just haven't finished grading it yet. Okay, so it's a good way for you to be able to check and see what you've turned in, maybe what's still missing. If you have questions in the future, Mattias listed the e-learning email address and phone number here. It's just a couple of boxes up in the chat. So that's a great place to start if you didn't find the help tools useful in Canvas.
Mm-hmm. Also, usually in the course navigation column, there'll be a link to the Big Bend e-learning YouTube channel, and that includes a lot of how-to videos.
Thank you. Yeah, so there's an e-learning videos link here. Other questions?
Okay.
Well, thanks for joining us this morning. Like I said, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to us. That's what we're here for. So good luck with fall quarter.
Thank you, Jen.
Have a good day, everyone.